This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Well, a very pleasant good evening and welcome to Small Biz Florida, Year 5 on WPSL and WSTU with Mr. Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to another segment and installment of Small Biz Florida, the show designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. As I always say, what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We will spend time during our hour together this evening to highlight and create awareness regarding the powerful and robust business assistance and support programs that exist right here in our community at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve the Treasure Coast as the Regional Director for the Florida Small Business Development Center here at IRSC. Underwriters for this segment of Small Biz Florida are the Florida SBDC at IRSC, engaged at every stage of enterprise. And also our good friends at Express Printing of Port St. Lucie. So, Greg, how are you this evening?
Doing well.
Hard to believe 5 years. It really. Are you sure you're not?
Yeah.
I think you're 3 to the power of 2 or something.
Actually, just a few weeks as Small Biz Florida. Startup talk for 4 years. There you go.
Well, we are Small Biz Florida, and we've got a little bit of an announcement to make at the close of our show this evening. I'm very excited about it. Thanks to our partnership here with WPSL and WSTU. We're doing some big things. We're expanding what we're doing here, talking about business, but we have got a studio full tonight, Greg, as you see. A couple of us are sitting on the floor in here. We got so many people.
We've done that before.
Yeah. Oh. I've got a great group of IRSC School of Business students just completing their senior year. They are pumped and excited. I'm actually surprised I got them in here tonight because they're all graduating. They're ready to go out and start the celebration. I also have one of their standout professor extraordinaires, our good friend, Dr. Herb Ricardo. So I will get to them in just a minute. We got lots to talk about this evening, but I do want to start off by saying we did get a notice the other day that the SBA has begun the Federal Disaster Loan Assistance Program to help businesses that were economically impacted by Hurricane Dorian. So I know Dorian rolled through a little bit ago, but there was enough through the business surveys, through the Treasure Coast, there was enough economic damage that occurred to where the SBA has opened up this program. So, of course, as we've talked about many times on this show, the Florida SBDC Network and the SBDC Center here at Indian River State College is the state's principal provider of small business assistance. So we encourage you to contact us if you did experience any economic damage, which prevented you from meeting your financial obligations, meeting payroll. You can apply for the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The program is intended to help small businesses who suffered substantial economic injury as a result of the storm and meeting your working capital needs. Substantial economic injury means that the business was unable to meet normal obligations and pay for ordinary and necessary operating expenses. So, again, this applies to small businesses, small agricultural cooperatives, small businesses engaged in aquaculture, and most private nonprofit organizations located in the primary or contiguous disaster-declared counties. And our 3 primary coastal counties are included. The maximum interest rate for the program is 4% with terms up to 30 years, and the deadline to apply is August the 13th, 2020.
Did you say 4%?
4%.
Wow, that's great.
So, again, the Florida SBDC Disaster Recovery Specialists are available to provide confidential, no-cost consulting to help affected businesses prepare disaster loan applications and with other post-disaster challenges. So if you're interested in pursuing the details on the on the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program associated with Dorian, you can contact us at the Florida SBDC, at IRSC. You can get us at 462-7631, or you can get us at the IRSCbiz.com. So reach out to us if you're interested in talking about that SBA disaster loan. So, Greg, with that, how are things at Indian River State College in men's and women's athletics? I know we kind of always get an update from you. I think y'all were just in a big tournament someplace, were you not?
We're heading that way on Thanksgiving. But let's see, the guys, 2 road games, not the outcome we had hoped for, but we had a great ladies game the other night. It was spectacular. But the ladies came up a little bit short, but they're going to be a lot better.
Yeah, the men's team,
I
kind of heard when I listened in, lost by one shot with a couple seconds to go. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah,
I hate to hear that.
Tough one. Yep.
Yeah, I hate to hear that.
What hair Charlie has is now gray. Unless he's pulled all of it out by now.
So what is the our holiday schedule around here? Is it's a lot of football on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So you can tune in here. And
wall-to-wall football from noon to midnight.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
So we're being preempted by professional football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small Biz Florida.
We can get Colin Kaepernick to lobby for you. Maybe we can cancel the game. You never know.
Like that. We could try. So we will. I guess we will be back with everyone next Thursday after Thanksgiving. So I hope, in case I forget to say it, I hope everybody has a great holiday Thanksgiving weekend and enjoy time with your family.
And you'll be on your regular time on WSTU on Monday at 11. Yep.
Beautiful. So again, back to our studio full of people tonight. I'm really excited about the group we have in here tonight. Again, we've got with us 5 standout students from the Indian River State College School of Business. These are seniors majoring in business. We'll let them kind of tell you their own story, but they have been participating in what's called a capstone class, which we'll talk a little bit about tonight. And it's kind of the final step for seniors in the School of Business to go through a capstone program. So we've got with us tonight, I'll go around the horn here. We got Joseph. Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Tommy next to Joseph.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Michael.
Thank you.
And we've got Sarah.
Hello.
I think Sarah was Sarah our team leader for the capstone team? No.
Me and Crystal.
Oh, me and Crystal. Okay. And then we've got Crystal next to Sarah there. Crystal.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Now, Crystal, before we went on the air, Crystal said she was in the radio business, Greg. She could, you could probably take a few
She's
months.
hired. Oh.
It's been a very long time.
Crystal,
This is old equipment, so
Crystal, you're not that old. How could it be that long ago? You're a student in the IRSC School of Business. So
I'm working on maybe 20 years of getting my bachelor's degree, so
Oh,
not
wait a minute.
quite that young.
You're the norm then.
right. And we've got with us also our good friend and partner and collaborator in the IRSC School of Business, Dr. Herb Ricardo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Tom.
Herb, let's start with you. I'd love to start with my professors in the School of Business because I love talking about the School of Business at IRSC. But you have got you're another one that has a long history in business, but you don't show it. But you do go back a ways in business. So kind of start us off with a little bit of your history and your pathway to the IRSC School of Business.
Yeah, so I have a background in healthcare management. When I finished my bachelor's and master's degree, I went on to healthcare administration, and then I became a CEO for a couple of healthcare organizations. But after about close to 15 years of doing that, I decided to go ahead and join the ranks of academia, and
Nice.
It's been a terrific ride for me and everything else. So I joined Indian River State College in 1999, so I'm on my 21st year over
Wow.
here. which is pretty amazing.
You must have done all those years in business as a teenager. Or something.
Right. But
one of those young entrepreneurs.
Route or anything
Yeah,
like that,
exactly. Thanks so much for kind words. But in doing this, I have such a great opportunity to work with superb students here at Indian River State College. And what we're going to talk a little bit about this evening is our capstone program. And so the School of Business, we've got two major bachelor's degrees over here. We've got the Bachelor's of Applied Science and Bachelor's of Business Administration. And the students that we have here this evening are part of the last course that they get to take, where what we do is we put the students in groups. And then what we do is we partner with local businesses and certainly some nonprofits and also some state organizations in trying to solve some of the problems that they have. And our students just do a terrific job at working with the leadership management of these particular organizations. So the whole idea really is for them to use the skills and the concepts and the theories that they've been working on for the last 4 years and actually apply them and help solve some really real problems.
Right, and you're talking about the capstone program, which is an incredible course and class offered. It gives the students a lot of hands-on experience. But I always the one thing I love to brag on about the IRSC School of Business is you've got multiple programs that give your students all kinds of real-world experience. I mean, you've got the DECA, the capstone, the internship. Talk a little bit about what you do unique at the School of Business at IRSC that really allows these students to get real-world experience prior to graduation.
Well, of course, with the certainly you had mentioned about DECA, and we have an opportunity for the students to go out and compete against other colleges and universities in understanding the particular programs and problems associated with organizations. We also we've got, which is really very interesting, is a study abroad program where the students can actually travel to Europe. They can travel to Asia. Every year we take students overseas, and not only are we traveling and looking at the different cultural aspects, but we're looking at the business and economic positions of these particular companies overseas. So we go to companies and startup companies in Europe. So we've got some really neat stuff going on there.
Yeah, and I remember, I think it was last year, you brought a very large group of students over here.
That's
from
right.
abroad.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. We brought Czech students, Russian students, and Ukrainian students to. I
don't know if that'd be so popular now.
Well, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're all testifying on Capitol Hill.
Exactly. They're all up there in D.C. night. But we brought them over here, and they spent 2 weeks over here at Indian River State College on our campus, learning about a lot of the Florida business environment and everything else. Yeah. So it was really terrific for them, and of course working with our students here.
Yeah. Well, and again, so tonight we kind of want to focus on the capstone class. But it is an incredible offering at Indian River State College with DECA, opportunities to get real world experience, internships. I know Dr. Bailey, does a great job of placing students at businesses and internships. I'm so glad you mentioned the study abroad program, incredible program. I want to have you on one night and just talk about study abroad. It's an incredible program that you kind of led for a number of years. But Capstone is this very unique offering to the senior level students where they do get to engage and interface directly with businesses, and a lot of those businesses are really are SBDC clients that have engaged the SBDC, and it's really a win-win win,
Yes.
for everyone. The client gets to work with the students, the SBDC gets to work with the students, and the students get to work with some credentialed consultants. Talk a little bit about the whole collaboration between the SBDC and the Capstone program.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just such a terrific relationship that we have. SBDC helps local businesses, small businesses all throughout Florida, and what we're able able to do is once SBDC identifies some of the problems or some of the obstacles that the businesses have, they come to us and we partner with them, and they say, you know what, Herb, there are some of these characteristics that maybe a group of your students can help this particular organization with. So it's so good to be able to work with SBDC, the consultants at SBDC, and of course our students, because now that they've got all these great skills and everything else, they act as consultants. They're consulting with the organization. They're sitting there and they're listening to what are some of the things that they can help out with. And one of the things, a lot of things that we look at, and I know you're going to maybe talk about some statistics and everything else, but a lot of small business owners, might be, maybe in their, 45, 50 years old, and maybe social media and technology might not necessarily be their strength. And we've got a whole group of students over here where they've been raised on technology, so we can really help out. And I know this is throughout all of Florida.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. That while you may be a very savvy a business owner and operator, there's things are always changing, and so these are young people that have new ideas, fresh ideas, a different type of business acumen, and I will tell you that. Anytime we've had a client engage in the capstone program, I mean, just this semester alone, I mean. I had Catherine tell me last night that one of the companies that engaged with the capstone group was so impressed last night with the presentation and the work and the research that was presented to them after the capstone group was through with their work. It's so impressive, and they were impressed and thankful. It was a real value add for the business to work with the students.
Yeah. The students really thoroughly enjoy working with business. We as professors, we're out there and we're trying to tell the students what we believe that they need in order to be successful and everything else. But it just comes to fruition when they're able to use those skills, they're able to use that knowledge and truly help businesses.
Yeah. So let's talk to the students here. Let's get their perspective. So we'll start over here with Joseph. Joseph, just kind of a little bit of background on yourself and kind of your pathway to the School of Business at IRSC.
Sure. I came to the Treasure Coast in 2011. I was originally from Jersey. I moved to Vero Beach, and I did all 4 years of high school at Vero Beach High School. After that, I did the IRSC program. I did my 2 years of my associates with specifying in business, and then I was fortunate enough to get accepted into the School of Business at IRSC, and I did my back end of my 2 years for my bachelor's, and it's been quite an experience, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Tommy, kind of what's your story?
Well, I started dual enrolling at Indian River State College my senior year of high school at Martin County High School. Graduated 2014 and continued for my associate's degree. Got that within another year and a half, and then was fortunately accepted to the bachelor's program for the School of Business here at IRSC. And it's been a great journey. It's got me to this point right now.
Great.
I'm very thankful.
Michael?
Well, I moved to Florida 10 years ago from South Carolina, and I got my associate degree 50 years ago. So now I'm going back to school and get my bachelor's, so I'm excited about that.
Nice. I like that Jersey accent.
You like that? That's Southern Jersey.
Southern Jersey, yes.
Sarah?
And just like Tommy, I graduated from Martin County High School in 2014. And then from there, I started my college education at IRSC. And now we're here graduating in 1 month.
Can't wait.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Crystal?
I am working as a paralegal, and I received my AS at IRSC, and I decided I might as well just keep going. So I'm finishing up my bachelor's and just continuing working at the law firm I work at, and it's been a great experience.
Nice. Now, you all completed this senior level class called the Capstone class, and again, you got to work with the real business. You actually, we're going to talk a little bit about what you did with the class. You actually worked with the SBDC on a special project, and of course very appreciative for all that. But talk a little bit about I know Professor Ricardo had talked about in earlier conversation about some of the challenges that you kind of didn't realize you were going to face, but kind of overcame in a capstone program. So talk a little bit about the capstone class and what it means to you as a senior level business student.
I would say that it's definitely not like any other class we've ever taken. It's not sitting in front of a professor and them lecturing to you. You're not doing chapters of homework and mini pop quizzes and tests. They sit you down with 5 other students in your class, and you meet real business owners, real business operators, people who are trying to make a living, and you're working with them as a group of consultants with all the acumen that you have, and you devise a plan together as a group to help make that business better, and it's more impactful, definitely.
All right. Tommy, what your thoughts on the capstone?
Yeah, just to add on to what Joseph said, usually your whole college experience, you're kind of solo. You're just focusing on doing your work. You want to, head down in the books. But with the capstone project, you're put into this team and you're taught to really, collaborate to help your client. And the client's really dependent on your work. So it's very gratifying to help them succeed.
Yeah. Challenges, Michael, that you kind of faced in the...
Well, I guess the best thing is just learning to work as a team, learning to work as a team versus just studying on your own and doing classwork on your own.
Yeah. Sarah, thoughts?
I agree with you. Communication is a big part of all this and teamwork. But we did everything from marketing, advertising, content, and podcast startup.
Nice.
It was all fun.
Crystal, you've been in radio and you work at a law firm. It's probably nothing for you. Right?
I'm all over the place. No, it was. It's a great experience because it ties all the classes, all the book work that we've done the past couple years to get our degree. This kind of just brings everything together and really shows us what they were telling us in all those courses.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it really is, it's the capstone. It's the final class and does kind of bring it all together.
So what law firm do you work at? We're into shameless promotion around here.
I work at Rossway Swan in Vero Beach.
Okay, good.
So Herb, when you bring these students together in this capstone, it is, it's got to be a lot of fun for you guys because to kind of Joseph's points, you're not lecturing every day in this class. So what are the kind of the challenges that you face in bringing these students together at a senior level like this?
Well, first of all, what's really interesting about it is the students have no idea what it is, okay? So they're looking kind of anxious on the first day when we put them all together. But one of the things that we find as a challenge is that, these students for the first time, they're working with businesses. And, business owners aren't always the best communicators. You can't get a hold of them as easy as your peers and everything else. They're not quite as accessible on the phone or email or anything else. So there's a lot of frustration that they go through. They're like, we've been trying to get a hold of him or her for such a long time. And, like, we don't know what they want or they keep changing their ideas on us and everything else. But you know what? That's what business is all about. People changing their ideas, not necessarily communicating. And so when we see some of these anxieties in the students and everything else, we say that's real world. And so it's really great to see that. And they do certainly grow from that.
And the actual mechanism of the capstone class is businesses kind of apply to be part of this semester's worth of work. And so how does that work? Business kind of tells you the problem and then the team then kind of focuses. Talk a little bit about the process to go through for the business and the students.
Yeah. So we'll often get, as faculty, and specifically me, we'll actually get about close to 15 different businesses that might be interested in using a capstone. So one of the first things that I've got to do is I've got to send them a form where they can fill out a little bit of information about themselves, and what they'll do is they'll list some of their particular problems that they might have, and what are some of the tasks and goals that they have for the group. And so once I receive that, then I'll go ahead. I'll make a phone call. I'll make a phone call to the businesses, and I'll talk to the business owner or the managers, and we'll talk a little bit about what their time frame is, because of course you can't solve all the problems in one semester.
Right.
A semester is 14 weeks, so we've got to be able to make sure that what we're giving the students as goals and achievements can be is realistic for them and everything else. So that's how we'll do that. And once we determine that, we'll go ahead and we'll put the particular businesses that we don't use on this particular semester. We'll kind of move them up for the next semester.
Would think that you get probably an awful lot of requests from local businesses to help them review and potentially enhance their social media strategy. Because, again, that's the common thought is we've got young people, millennials, there's a greater understanding and engagement in these social media channels. Do you get a lot of that request in the Capstone program?
Yes, we absolutely do, because I think a lot of business owners recognize that where the traditional medium of using flyers, newspaper ads, now everything is digital, right? And so the thing is and also you get a bigger bang for your buck for almost no money. But of course, they're not familiar how to do that. So that's why social media is huge. I would have to say about 50% of the requests that we have from businesses is we'd like someone or we'd like a group that is knowledgeable in social media, maybe to look over our web page, our websites. And everything else like that, yeah.
Right. And, the other thing, too, when we talk about millennials, we've had a number of companies come to us and want to test products. We had a local drink company not too long ago come. They were trying to develop some new non-sugar, like protein-type drinks.
That's right.
That they were looking at that millennial market, and they specifically came and said, we want to talk to students. So it is a great opportunity to engage that millennial market, is it not?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing, we tend to look at education in the way that we did the last 50 years, where the professors do the talking and the students are just sitting in the chairs, listening. But what we're trying to really do here at Indian River State College in the School of Business is get that engagement going. We want to engage the students and being part of their learning. So we're asking them a lot of time, what is it? What do you want? How can we help you give you the the knowledge that you want?
Now, all of you have 4-year degrees, so all of you took some general education classes, but your concentration, of course, was in the School of Business. Kind of talk about the uniqueness of IRSC School of Business. Just each of you kind of talk a little bit about that uniqueness, where you get that opportunity to do focus groups and the capstone, and it is different than just general education, is it not?
Yeah, I would definitely attest to that. I think one of the things I found to be not even the most interesting, but really just the most beneficial for students is when I went to the School of Business portion, whatever class I took, whether it was marketing, whether it was human resources, my professor was always proficient in that particular field. If I went to my marketing class, my marketing professor actually did marketing in the real world prior to it.
Yeah, good point.
So not only am I getting the curriculum from any textbook that they throw at me, but I'm getting real life practical advice that's relevant to that field, to whatever subject I was taking at the time.
Great point, Joseph. Good point. Yeah, Tommy?
Well, the thing I really find special about IRSC's business program is it's really, for lack of better terms, local. I think, it's really connected. It's like everybody knows everybody, especially on the Treasure Coast. If you want to succeed on the Treasure Coast, it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And IRSC's done a great job of connecting their students with real business owners and operators, and just making it easier for us to succeed as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I want to stop right there too, and Dr. Ricardo, to Tommy's point, being engaged in the community. I mean, the School of Business has an advisory board that you guys draw from out of the community. Talk about the advisory board.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're constantly going out into the community and asking, again, whether it's local business owners or local businesses. Are you interested in being a part of Indian River State College? Because what we want to hear from them is, how are our graduates doing? How are the students that we're pumping out helping you all? And is there anything that we can do to help that relationship between the students that we graduate with the necessarily skills and qualifications that you need? So we love that relationship with all businesses and local businesses, small businesses, and of course, even the larger middle-sized ones.
Yeah, and we've got Crystal. I talked a little bit about her history. She actually works full time, and then also as a student. IRSC does offer flexibility in terms of offerings, do they not? I mean, we've got blended classes, we've got online, we've got, I think, what you call express, shortened. Talk a little bit about the offerings that allow a working student like a Crystal and Michael, to get that education.
Yeah, so in the more modern way of looking at education, we recognize that students have to work. And so we have to allow for online where they can do the studies on their own. We do blended, and the whole idea of blended is where we've got online as well as face-to-face, because the students do like the idea of face-to-face, but maybe they can't do all of it. So it's a restricted amount of time with a blended class. And then, of course, we've got students who are able to do the traditional full-time face-to-face and have that connection with a professor and their students on a very local basis.
So again, Crystal, talk a little bit about that. Did the flexibility of the classes, help you pursue the degree?
Oh, if it wasn't flexible, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I also have a son who keeps me busy, but I took a lot of my classes online and did a few of the blended classes so that I was still engaged in the school. But a lot of it I was able to do online, thankfully.
Nice. Michael and Sarah, did the flexibility help in pursuing the education?
Absolutely, definitely.
Yeah.
From online classes, just to being able to pick, like small Monday to Wednesday classes, it definitely helps.
Michael?
Yes, I think it did. And my experiences, I've been to other colleges like University of South Carolina, East Tennessee State, when I was traveling around. And actually, I think IRSC is more focused on the student and more specialized in the larger universities.
All right. Well, there's no doubt, and to Michael's point, Dr. Ricardo, I mean, what is really kind of a plus about IRSC is you do have that student to professor ratio that allows for you guys to really have some face-to-face engagement with the students and do some unique programming like the capstone classes.
Yeah. We average around 20 to 30 students in our classes in the School of Business. Yeah, we really take personal care with our students, encourage them constantly to come to us and allow us to help them with any particular problems that they have, and certainly career choices. Again, this is what we're here for. We're here to support them and help them and ensure their success. So if there's anything that we can do to help them along, that's what we're here for.
And back to the flexibility issue, too. IRSC really has 5 campus locations. Indian River, St. Lucie, Martin, Okeechobee, and then a campus in really Port St. Lucie West, the Pruitt campus. Business classes are pretty much offered at all those campuses,
Absolutely.
Are they not?
Yep, they sure are. Yeah, we make sure that it's pretty uniform.
Okay. And then beyond the business, we also now offer a 4-year accounting degree, do we not, at University College?
Oh, we do. Yeah, it's a terrific program, and of course, it's meeting the needs of the community. The community is needing more and more accountants, so we're able to provide that with our bachelor's degree with a concentration in accounting.
So to this semester's capstone program, you had, I said there were a number of SBDC clients. You had small retailer. We had a very innovative entrepreneurial manufacturer, Barricade. They've been on the show before. They're making this incredible product, a fire gel that you can spray on a home and it protects it from wildfires.
Right. Yep.
So there was some really, a good diversity of businesses that the students got to work with. But this team was particularly lucky, I think.
Yes, I think
very
so
fortunate.
too. Yep, for sure.
That they actually got to work with me, and they got to work with the Florida SBDC.
Oh, brother.
got to really take in all that incredible business experience that I had to offer. But this team got to work with the Florida SBDC at IRSC Center on a very unique project. As Greg points out, every time we launch this show on Thursday evenings, we've been around for 5 years now doing Small Biz Florida and Startup Talk here on WPSL and WSTU, and we have been so grateful for that partnership and appreciate Greg and Carol and Cliff's support, in promoting our program. So to the millennial issue, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, my children introduced me to the whole world of podcasting. And
it's now the hottest thing in broadcasting.
I know. So, you're an old guy like me. So I got introduced to podcasting, and I really got very enthused about some business podcasts that were out there that offered, advice and tips and support for businesses. And, I think, again, anybody who knows me realizes that, and I say it all the time, that when I was in business, I was unaware of the Florida Small Business Development Center program. I was unaware that we had it here in our community, and that when I became responsible for the program, one of my primary missions and objectives was, I said, look, we're going to make sure that our business community knows these services are out there, and it's up to them to take advantage of it, but we're going to make sure they know about it. So with this, with the experience we got here running the radio show, we said, you know what, let's take this on a statewide level and let's produce a podcast. So we created the concept and the idea of duplicating our radio show here and turning it into a podcast that all Florida could have access to. So we created Small Biz Florida, the podcast. So we've been working on getting that launched, and lots of technology involved in there. And so we turned to the capstone class to help us kind of cross the finish line with this podcast. So they actually helped us build the marketing plan, deal with some technology issues, and have helped us actually get to the point where we're ready to launch Small Biz Florida, the podcast. So kind of start us off, Joseph. What was the mission here with the capstone team in helping the SBDC with the podcast?
Well, when we were first introduced to the business SBDC, we found through the paper that was submitted that you guys really needed help just as a foundation to get this thing started up. So our whole mission instantly just transformed into getting you guys everything that you need, exactly how you need it, so that you can create the perfect formula to make your podcast whatever your dream of it is.
Yes, and it's been a dream. So Tommy, what I want to kind of know too is when you were introduced to the SBDC, I mean, did anyone in the team kind of know what the SBDC was and what we did? And
I think we all had a little understanding, not to the depth that we do now, but we were a little familiar. We're kind of questionable as of what you guys wanted, your goals, and but I think we came together pretty well to figure it out.
And Michael, you were always you were kind of the one that dug in kind of on the research and always had great questions about the SBDC and what we do and what did you kind of learn about the SBDC as you worked on this project?
Well, I learned that you guys have a lot of programs to offer small businesses that I was never aware of. I mean, I always was aware for years it's been small business, but I never realized, the grants, the training you can do, and
right.
the various programs you have.
Right. And Sarah, you and Crystal kind of led the group. Kind of talk about the engagement with the SBDC, and what did you learn? Was it something new that you kind of you didn't know about the SBDC?
Right. For me, it was completely new. I actually haven't heard anything about it before, but after learning and doing so much research as a group, it's a great program, and they offer so much for small businesses. And I'm glad that we got the opportunity to start the podcast up.
Yeah. Crystal?
I mean, I guess I can only reiterate what everyone else said.
Right.
I actually had never heard of the SBDC before this, which is amazing because my family owns small businesses in the area. So it's definitely somewhere that I've told them they need to look for advice and information. So it's been a good experience, good learning experience for us.
And talk about from a student, from a millennial standpoint, talk about podcasts. What is the whole movement to the podcast? Are you guys, or do you have your favorite podcast? Does anybody, and why do you listen? Why do you tune in to that kind of technology?
I have a favorite podcast.
Uh-oh.
I'm actually going tomorrow to see them live.
What is it?
Crime Junkies.
Yes.
They're very popular.
Okay.
They're number one.
And where are you going to go see Crime Junkies live?
Tampa, Florida.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They go worldwide apparently now, but I'm super excited.
What is it?
Crime
Crime
Junkies.
Junkies.
It's basically they tell stories about U.S. crime.
Okay.
Real world.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
See what you'll learn, Herb?
So just kind of again supporting what Tom just said. So your group, your age group, listens to a lot of podcasts. And so, what are you getting out of the podcast? Why do you listen to podcasts? What are you getting out of podcasts?
I mean, it depends on the podcast. Some of it's just entertainment, but there are several. I'm kind of obsessed with podcasts. I listen to a lot of them just that have information that you wouldn't normally get. You learn things. History podcasts where you learn about history, things that you wouldn't have normally known about. I love the history ones. Those are my favorite, obviously.
Spoken word.
Yes.
It is. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, and Greg, jump in here because, podcaster, it's really just it's an updated version of radio, is it
Talk
not?
radio. That's
Right.
all it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, where does podcasting, play into the current radio marketplace?
Well, actually, our major competitor, I guess, if you will, in this market would be iHeartRadio, and they now have a pretty large podcast division. We're on it, for some of our shows, and it's interesting because they are now taking podcasts and calling, it's nighttime programming for them. It's Phil,
Right.
and the podcast hours. And there's a couple stations in L.A. doing it. I think Frisco's doing it. It's kind of neat. But it's been around for a long time.
It's sorry. You know what I was thinking is it's one of those things where you don't have always the opportunity to listen to your favorite radio person at that particular time.
Correct.
And before, if you missed that, you didn't have it. Now what you can do is you can be as busy as you are at work and everything else, and then when you're driving up to see your grandmother for Thanksgiving, you can go ahead and you can have 5 or 6 podcasts in a row and be listening to your favorite radio personality.
That's what's made our YouTube channel so popular because we have over 1,000 radio shows up there.
Right.
And people can look and listen whenever they want. Everything's on demand now.
Right.
If you look and see the on-demand numbers, especially of the new Disney streaming service, it's amazing. And you look at the Nielsen ratings for over-the-air television, prime time, it is plummeting.
Yeah.
But on demand, my wife and I, that's all we watch is on demand.
Right. And so to the students, is a podcast kind of just another component in all of this new the new channels of social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook? Do you just see podcasting as just another one of these components that fits into social media?
In my opinion, I do. I think that we're moving towards as you guys said, a more on-demand kind of marketplace. I think we're looking to aim towards something that gives just viewers instant gratification. And it's not my place to say whether it's good or bad,
Right.
But that's where it's coming. It's where you can watch whatever you want, whenever you want, and podcast is just another one of those. You can log into Facebook in an instant and see what people are up to. You can go on YouTube and see whatever favorite video you want to see.
Right.
Same thing with a podcast. You can listen to your favorite subjects whenever you want.
Yeah. And to Crystal's point, do you see the podcast as a way to get information, a good dose of valuable information quickly? Is that kind of what podcasts are all about?
Absolutely. There are a lot of good informational podcasts. My main interest in podcasts are primarily for entertainment, but much like Small Biz Florida, it's very valuable to people who are searching for that sort of information that could find that very beneficial.
So and like your capstone class, when you engaged with the SBDC and you know, because you had to do some research, you had to kind of understand who we were to develop, kind of the format and the mission of the Small Biz Florida podcast. How important do you see programs like the SBDC to young entrepreneurs like yourself and young business people? I mean, is that a good place for a young person to turn to help get that start, get that education?
I think it's absolutely vital. I think for entrepreneurs, if you're new to the game, if you're new to, you've never owned a business, you odds are you don't know where to start. Most people probably nowadays, their first way of how to figure something out is go right to Google.
Right.
And they'll try to Google search a business or a career, and it's not always the best. But with something like SBDC, you guys focus on small businesses, how to open them, how to operate them, how to maintain them, and how to build them. And for someone who has no idea how to do any of that, something like SBDC is just a one-way ticket. It's your one-stop shop.
Yeah. So again, there was the goal was to create a podcast, take the radio show that we've done for 5 years here, take that kind of content of providing information and updates, and just like tonight, we talked about SBA emergency loans. When there's a time of crises or an event like a hurricane, got to get information out quickly. And again, the podcast offers that mechanism, does it not, to kind of get things out in a hurry, and people can turn to that to get the information.
Absolutely.
So, and you look and see, because what you guys all have in here, your phones are the new transistor radio of our old generation.
That's right.
Realistically, with everybody streaming, that's exactly what it is.
Well, I started to bring that up too, is that the podcast and the Instagram and the Facebook, it really was all designed for smart devices. And you guys, I saw a few laptops, but most of you are probably using the phone most of the day, are you not?
Yeah, definitely.
It's our in our hand
everything.
Computer. Yeah.
To touch on the point Mr. Ricardo made, that it's really just the accessibility of the podcast. Like most of the time when I throw it on, I'll be cleaning the house or doing laundry, dishes or something, just something to have in the background that I can listen to, and I'm not sitting there, focused on it, just not doing anything.
I think what's so amazing is Tommy just said he cleans the house and does laundry.
Of course.
A student? Yeah.
Can you help out some of the basketball players? Although we did have a funny story this week where one of the basketball players decided to FedEx his clothes to his mother.
Oh.
And his mother FedExed him back. It was beautiful.
Yeah, well, good work, Tommy. I'm glad to know that your parents raised you well.
Those lengths.
So listening to the podcast while he's cleaning the house and doing laundry. Well, again, I want to quickly, as we get close to close here, I want to get all the students quick advice. Talk to us just real quickly, your advice to that young person looking to maybe pursue the business degree or pursue entrepreneurship. Now that you're seniors and you've got all this knowledge, what do you tell them?
To the freshman that's looking to go into a degree in business, I would say it's really important to understand yourself and know what you want. And if you really have an affinity towards business, pursue it. To the entrepreneur out there, if you have a really great idea and you really believe in it, I think that's enough to really get started and build whatever your dream is. So to both of them, I would just say, if you really got a gut feeling about something, go for it.
Tommy?
Exactly. Just to reiterate, if it's really what you want to do, you just really got to go for it. You got to, tighten your belt and just shoot your shot.
All right. Michael?
Yeah, I would agree with him, and also to stay in school. Because once you get out, you have kids, you get married, it's hard to keep
Right.
going.
Yeah,
Keep
good
going.
advice. Sarah?
To the freshmen, I would say stay consistent with your work, show up, get your work done, and definitely don't slack off.
All right. Crystal?
Well, I guess I would say no matter how long you wait to finish, it's really not difficult, especially IRSC makes it very easy to get your degree. And I would just say stick with it because there's one thing that they can't take from you, it's your education. So
Nice. Dr. Ricardo?
All I can say is I'm so proud of my students. They do such a great job, and they're very dedicated. And I think that when I see those freshmen and I see that they're hungry for it, hopefully we can provide them the knowledge that they need to be successful.
Boy, you should be very proud of these
Yeah,
students.
this is
Certainly am.
a great group, and just one of what was a great class. And so, with that, I guess we'll close up this show by saying it's kind of official now. Capstone team, Small Biz Florida is out there. We're still building some content, so not a lot of episodes yet, but they're all in post-production and coming quickly. So I guess my technical director here, Tommy, how does one find Small Biz Florida and subscribe to the podcast?
Well, you can find us on podbean.com if you search Small Biz Florida, or on the iTunes store and podcasts.
Okay.
Also
Nice.
search Small Biz Florida.
All right, so it's Small Biz Florida on WPSL and WSTU, and now it's Small Biz Florida
On Podbean.
on Podbean.
Yeah, and iTunes. Cool.
So we can talk business, talk all things business anytime now. Thank you, students. Thank you, Dr. Ricardo.
Thank you.
And with
Thank
that,
you.
we'll bring to close this segment of Small Biz Florida here on WPSL and WSTU. And with that, we'll talk to you after Thanksgiving.
This
Have a
is
great holiday.
WPSL, Port St. Lucie, WSTU Stewart, Martin County's Heritage Station.